Hello YouTube, guys. I want to show you Balanced Druid in Midnight Alpha today. I want to show you what's changed, what's new, what's adjusting, and just talk to you about some of the rotational updates, the gameplay loop, that kind of thing. Really quite fun. I've been enjoying the testing on Alpha. It's been really quite fun. I still need to do some dungeons with it. I've just been doing a lot of dummy testing right now because you have the chance to actually test things at level 90, which is really quite nice. It is very similar to The War Within, so if you actually watch my gameplay right now, I mean, I'm doing it one-handed. Woo! As many people are going to be able to do in Midnight with their specs, but, yeah, it's very... What? Nice, I got it. Sorry, I'm just looking at... I'm trying to min-max right now. Can't help myself. But it's very, very similar to The War Within, but they're under the hood. There are actually some changes that you're going to want to be thinking about when you're doing your rotation, which is good. It's very simple. It's very similar to The War Within, but there are still some things that you're going to be able to optimize and try and, like, min-max. So, let's get into it then. I will say I am live testing a lot of specs on my Twitch, on my YouTube, here, on Kick. So come check me out, Psybearslat_TV on everything. I've already done Feral. I've already done Survival. I've been checking out a bunch of specs. I just haven't uploaded that many videos yet. So here's Balance. It's on the list. Let's get into what's changed and what's going on. Bear in mind, it is alpha, so things can change further. The spec tree has been updated. It's moved around. Some things have changed location and whatnot. Some things have just straight up been removed. Some things have been added in. So we'll talk about all of those. Allune's Chosen hasn't been updated with the new stuff yet. Keeper of the Grove has. So we'll show some of that off. We have our Apex talent, which if you don't know, so we're gaining 10 levels in Midnight, so we're going to get some new spec talents. Instead of affecting the tree and just having this ever-growing tree, what Blizzard has done is add these Apex talents, which is just 4 points that are just like a superpowered ability. But I will show that in a little bit, and we could talk about it later in the video. So, in terms of changes then, a major change that's happened for Balanced Druid, as you can see on my bar here on the number 5, I have Eclipse there. No longer do you have to cast 2 Wraths or Starfire to get into your Eclipse. Instead, you just manipulate your Eclipse with casting a Wrath or a Starfire in the lead up to when you want to press your Eclipse. So if I want to go into Lunar Eclipse right now, I can just press this button. If I want to go into Solar Eclipse, I can cast a Wrath, and then it will... Okay. You know what? That's one for the clips, actually. I'm in Allune's Chosen. I cannot go into Solar Eclipse. Imagine if I was Keeper of the Grove right now. If I'd cast that Wrath, my Eclipse would just become Solar Eclipse. It would just change icon from purple to yellow. So, you know... I'm going to keep it in. That's fine. So, so Eclipse now is just something that you can just press. And now I'm in Eclipse state. You can see I'm tracking it here in the middle of the screen. So, it's way easier to just jump in and out of Eclipses now. And that's really quite cool. You don't have to, like, kind of waste a couple abilities jumping into your Eclipse. You can just chain. You can just carry on your rotation, just seamlessly transition into it. Obviously, if you use Incarnation, it will also put you into an Eclipse. Now, you can't replace an Eclipse with an Eclipse. However, if you're in a regular Eclipse, like I can't Eclipse right now, it won't let me. If you're in a regular Eclipse and then you use Incarn, it will replace your Eclipse, but it won't add the time on. It will just replace it, so it'll just give you a fresh 15 seconds. It won't add on the prior one. So, that's pretty cool. So that's the deal with Eclipse, which is quite a major change. Now, in terms of what's being removed, Astral Smolder has been removed, Astronomical Impact has been removed, Stellar Flare has been removed, but it's technically still alive in Orbital Strike. Umbral Inspiration has been removed, Waning Twilight has been removed. So that was when you were, you know, multi-dotting things, you're having 3 dots, which was then giving you additional damage. This potentially has some implications on how you're building out your talents, like are you going to grab Shroom and stuff? Still, it depends on tuning, perhaps. And then Warrior of Elune is gone. So Warrior of Elune no longer there for Allune's Chosen. However, they've kind of diminished it a little bit and then put it into your Apex talent. So they formed it around your Apex talent. So I will show that off very soon. So that's everything that we've lost. In terms of new things that we've gained, I don't think we've gained any new rotation buttons. I'm just thinking now. Yeah, no. Even with Keeper of the Grove. We've not gained any new rotation buttons. Anything we've gained has been passive, but will have some impacts on your rotation, or hopefully, as I assume that is the intent. So let's just talk very briefly about the developers note. I will just skim through it a little bit. So they've said about how they're changing Eclipse. They want to add more gameplay to it, they say. So they're kind of giving you more agency in when you choose to Eclipse. And it might not be so simple as just, well, just go into Eclipse if you can, and if you can't, then don't. Like, there might actually be a little bit more gameplay to it. And I'll talk to you about that in a little bit when we get into the talent breakdown. So what else? Goal is for Balance to prepare for each Eclipse and choose that perfect moment to activate it. Depending on talents and the pacing of a fight or a dungeon, you might have an Eclipse up 60 to 80% of the time. You'll want to spend your time in Eclipse, spending astral power and dealing damage, and prepare for your next... Oh, and your time out of Eclipse building resources or refreshing dots to prepare for your next Eclipse. So they really want you to kind of... I guess as long as your Eclipse is on cooldown, you won't feel bad about having to do the maintenance stuff. I think right now on live, where there's that little bit of sort of friction, is you really want to enter a new Eclipse, but you might need to either apply new dots. Generally, that's a more single target thing because, I mean, you've got, like, Ethereal Kindling, which is just going to be renewing things. But say you're chain pulling, right? Say you take chain pulls, you're wanting to dot the new things, but also you want to be Eclipse, you know, in Eclipse and like, kind of just starfiring, really. So I guess they want to give you a better feeling of being out of Eclipse, not feeling like you're just losing damage. So that's cool. They've also made some adjustments, so the Balance Mastery has been updated, so it's no longer affecting your dots, your Sunfire and Moonfire. It's just your Nature and Arcane damage. But they are buffing Moonfire and Sunfire damage, I believe, by like 50%. And obviously there'll be further tuning from that. But they've said Balance's Mastery has been changed, so Sunfire and Moonfire no longer increase damage to targets, and Waning Twilight has been removed. This allows Balance to start dealing damage faster and improve its strength in split cleave fights. I think this is mimicked by this talent here, Meteor Storm. Starfall deals its damage 100% faster, so they're clearly trying to allow you to build for faster burst. Maybe something like Araz in the current raid tier, where things are going to die quickly. You don't want to dot them, but you're losing out on AoE. And the Windwalker gets to have fun, and you don't. Same with, like, maybe Soulbinder, right? Add spawn quick. You don't want to dot them. They're not going to be alive very long. You probably want to Starfall. But they're going to die before Starfall's over. Oh, I can just slam one or two quick Starfalls, and they're going to just, you know, blitz the mob. So that's kind of cool. I like that kind of thing. This is a cool talent, in my opinion, because it actually has you to think about the situation you're going into. You're thinking about the scenario that you're engaging in and making adjustments there. I like talents like that. So, in terms of new talents then, so let's talk about the Apex talent a little bit. So, activating an Eclipse, so the Apex talent is obviously we're leveling to 10 more levels, so we're going to get 3 more talents on the hero tree, we're going to get like 3 more on the class tree, and then we get 4 on the spec tree. In theory, your Apex talent should be like your premium talent. As soon as you can get it, you should be maxing it out and picking it up. It should be really good. So, activating an Eclipse makes your next Wrath or Starfire instant. So, this is the Warrior of Elune component that I was talking about. Sort of like, you are going to get some free cast, you are going to get some instant cast, but it's like more baked into this Apex talent. It would probably be pretty funny if you had this and you had Warrior of Elune, and you just have like instant cast, instant cast, instant cast. You know, could be pretty funny. But first 3 Star Surges or Starfalls you cast during each Eclipse deal 20% increased damage. Cool. Ascendant Eclipses. Your critical strikes dealt during an Eclipse cause their victims to languish for an additional 40% of the damage dealt for 6 seconds. This is really funny as a Feral Druid main, because this is a talent that we just got removed from Feral Druid. So, the classic Balance Druid getting all of the things that we have, but just a better version of it. I see you with double Incarn. Ascendant Eclipses. Activating an Eclipse also launches solar or lunar bolts at an enemy within 40 yards that always critically strike. So maybe I can showcase this a little bit. So if I just like, I'll just like Sunfire this. If I press my Eclipse right now, you can see a bunch of hits go out. I think maybe we can check the combat log. Lunar Bolt. Okay, so you can see on that 5 mobs there, we had quite a few bolts go out. Cool. They actually hit really hard. Wow. 4K crits. I mean, they're free. So that's the Apex talent there. That's the situation. Cool. In terms of new talents that have been added, so we've got improved Eclipse. Lunar Eclipse and Solar Eclipse have 1 additional charge. So it's not 2 charges by default. I would imagine you're always going to play 2 charges because I don't know why you wouldn't. More Eclipse is good, yes? Then you have a new talent, Meteor Storm, which is there. That's the one I spoke to you guys about. New talent, Sculpt the Stars. Now, this is where I'm going to start getting lost here. Sculpt the Stars down here. So the cooldown of Lunar Eclipse and Solar Eclipse are reduced by 2 seconds. Sounds like a very insignificant number, but this might be one of those things that when you actually get into the single target raid rotation with some gear, you actually find if your Eclipse was just 2 seconds low SED, everything would be perfect. I don't know. That seems very, very specific in my opinion. Okay. New talent, Total Eclipse of the Heart, I believe. So that's down here. Entering any Eclipse, 2-point node. Entering any Eclipse has a 10% chance to grant the benefits of both Lunar and Solar Eclipse. Okay. I personally, straight off the bat, I don't know how valuable that is. Personally, it doesn't... I mean, if I'm playing, like, Elun's Chosen, where I only care about going into, like, Luna, I don't know how much I care about that. But okay. New talent, Elun's Challenge. Elun's Challenge. Everything's Elun, man. Everything is Elun. Take a day off, Elun. Don't you have Night Elves to save? When you exit Eclipse with less than... Okay, so this is a really interesting talent. When you exit Eclipse with less than 40 astral power, Wrath and Starfire's cast times are reduced by 25% for 15 seconds or until you enter an Eclipse. So immediately you read this talent, maybe like I did, and go, well, that sounds terrible. Why would I want to leave an Eclipse with low astral power? I want to jump straight into another Eclipse and then spend all of my astral power because... there's this talent here, which is also a new talent, Harmony of the Heavens. Star Surge or Starfall increase your current Eclipse's arcane or nature damage bonus by an additional 2% up to 6%. And you've got Balance of All Things, the classic, where you want to be spending astral power ASAP when you enter a new Eclipse. So why on earth would I want to leave an Eclipse with no astral power? Well, this is where the rotation could be really cool. So, I think this talent could have some really good application where there are times where if you just chain Eclipse after Eclipse, so like during your burst, I mean, I've got CI where I can beat an Eclipse, then I can use a normal Lunar Eclipse, then I can use a CI, or, I mean, I don't know, again, this will come down to theory crafters. Would you go double Incon during Bloodlust and sit on 2 stacks of Lunar Eclipse, or would you try and get 1 on cooldown? Because then you can be cycling both Lunar Eclipse and CI's cooldowns while, you know, without holding one. So I don't know. That'll be a theory craft thing. That's fine. I don't need to like min-max it right now. But you'll be in situations where if you just chain Eclipse and Eclipse and Eclipse, you will eventually be in a situation where you're out of an Eclipse for quite a long time. Probably like 15, 20 seconds or something where you're like waiting for an Eclipse cooldown. So what's instead good is to spend this time. So if you know that you're gonna, and I'm trying to create the situation here. So I've got 1 charge of Eclipse there, right? I've got no CI. If I leave this Eclipse with low astral power, then I'm gonna try and do it now. So I'm gonna try and leave without under 40. Please don't proc. Good. So now I'm going to get this increased cast speed, and I still have a few seconds of Starlord here, which is going to allow me to, like, recoup a bunch of astral power and kill time until my next Eclipse state. So now I've got another Eclipse charge. So now when I leave this one, I'll have another Eclipse. But again, if I just delay a little bit, so if I spend my astral power, can I do it? I can. I'm waiting for Fury of Elun as well, because I don't want to Eclipse without Fury of Elun. So now I don't feel bad. I've got my haste from Starlord. I've got this increased cast speed. Now I can go into that Eclipse, and it actually is really quite nice. So it's this build because of this talent where, okay, you're not going to, during like burst and bloodlust and stuff like that, you'll probably just be like chaining, you know, cooldowns and eclipses and whatnot as and when. But outside of that, the general flow is going to be, hey, I'm going to try and blast out my astral power, get the benefit of this Elun's challenge, because It's reducing your cast time by 25% for 15 seconds. And the way Starlord works now, so I should talk about this as well. Starlord is reset. If I show you, let me just go into an Eclipse. Let's get some Starlords going on. So it lasts quite a long time. It lasts longer than an Eclipse. So this Eclipse is going to end. I'm going to immediately go into a new Eclipse, right? Starlord is just going to get reset. So every Eclipse, you just fresh Starlord. Fresh pair of pants right there. Ready to go. So, because there's this extra, 6 or 7 seconds that Starlord lasts, you leave Eclipse, you have reduced cast time, Starlord's still there, so you're benefiting from that haste, getting the cast time. It's just going to, like, propel you into the next Eclipse, right? It's preparing you for a brighter future. So I really like this talent. I think it has some really fun, cool gameplay interaction, because it's something that if you're just playing Boomy, going through the motions, you'll have lower Eclipse duration, and you'll just, like, not benefit from this talent. Whereas if you're min-maxing, there's still something to track and think, hold on, I actually want to delay that Eclipse a little bit. So, really quite cool. I was finding when I was playing Keeper of the Grove as well, actually, it was really quite fun. I will just switch over to some Keeper for now as well. May as well, and I can show off some of these new talents. But, yeah, I found with Keeper it's actually really fun, because you have a few things that you're tracking, right? Where you're tracking your trees, you're tracking your Convoke timer, your Incon timer. So, yeah, with this, there's quite a bit going on, and yeah, I found it quite fun. So, that's a new talent that's also being added. What else? Celestial Fire, which, come on, Sai, can you find one on the tree? Celestial Fire, if I was a Celestial Fire, where would I be? So, Celestial Fire, there, of course. So, Celestial Fire, so Moonfire, Sunfire, Shooting Stars damage increased by 15%, so they are buffing your dots there. Cool. I think that's all of the new... Oh, and then Meteorites. Meteorites over here. So every time Starfall deals damage, a Meteorite falls on a target in its range, dealing 400 Astral damage. Guess just like a passive Mythic Plus talent. Okay. Cool. I mean, that could have some cool synergies. Like, again, you could drop this talent. Like, if you're not dotting everything up in AoE, you drop that Celestial Fire, grab Meteorites, and then you can grab Meteor Storm here, so you're having your Starfall falling quicker, and then also you're getting some benefit of quick damage. But would you really want to sacrifice some single target from that? Go to the TCs, bro. Quit looking at me. Go ask a TC. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the best build is going to be so far. Like, that's not what I'm looking at right now. That's not what I care about in terms of best build. But those are all the changes that are happening. For Keeper of the Grove, they are adding the current tier set to the tree. So, entering Eclipse summons a Dryad to assist you for 8 seconds. Casting Star Surge deals 12k astral damage and Starfall at 300% effectiveness. Dryads cause most of your astral power generation to be increased by 10%. And then your Starfall damage is increased by 8%, and your Star Surge damage increased by 8%. So, big thing here, I guess, is like getting the Dryad doing stuff there. Cool. I think the rest of the tree is generally unchanged as far as I'm aware. So just to show off a bit of Keeper of the Grove gameplay. Again, I've not really changed my tree around too much like min-max. I don't know what's going to be best right now. But I imagine I'm going to be dropping like Elune and Moonlight and picking up, I guess, if yeah, Convoke, obviously, and yeah, trees, obviously. So, yeah. Well, I'll show some Keeper of the Grove. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this Harmony of the Heavens talent. So this is something where when you Starfall early, it's going to have synergy with Balance of All Things. You're going to be doing more damage. You're going to be getting more crit. You're also going to have Ascendant Eclipses here. So your first 3 Starfalls are going to do more damage. So it's very important that that's aligning with like Balance of All Things, I would imagine. So you're getting a lot of damage right in your opener when it counts. So Eclipse, obviously it's just go into Eclipse with a bunch of astral power, basically is the premise there. So that should be pretty self-explanatory. So let me just do some AoE stuff here. So I'll Wrath, so it's going to trigger my Solar Eclipse now, right? Instead of my, like if I Starfire here, it's going to trigger my Lunar Eclipse. I want to go into Solar. I do a Wrath. It's going to trigger that. So you kind of like, you preload it, you know? You keep it in the chamber ready to go. It's preloaded. And then let's imagine I'm just going into combat now. So I don't know, I'll do a couple wraths, whatever. Sunfire, do a couple Moonfires, let my trees do the rest. Do a couple Starfalls there, get into a big Convoke. My Dryads are here, look at them go. Big. Starfire. Okay, now I can probably change straight into another Eclipse here. Oh god, I've not warmed up on trees. Alright, I got trees coming up in a sec, and I can CI with that, so I actually want to build up some astral power here, but not over cap. Now I can go into... yeah, I got the trees there. Big. Now I think I can go straight into another Lunar Eclipse here. I've got one more stack of Dream Burst. You can see I can track quite a lot here with the base default UI from Blizzard. So yeah, I can go straight into another Eclipse here because I don't want to over cap. So I'm going to build up resources there. And I can send it now. Now, next Eclipse, I don't want to CI, because I want to save that for Convoke. So I'm going to Eclipse with my trees. So if I can leave this Eclipse now with less than 40 energy, I might even Star Surge here just to ensure. There we go. Now I'm getting my increased attack cast speed. I'm just going to wait some time, I think, for these trees. If I can. Starfire. There we go. I can Eclipse with trees there. So, like, that didn't feel really bad. I could redot. I could prep for a new, like, cooldown window. I'm not just, like, idling with 2 charges of Eclipse. I've got trees coming up. I can CI with trees, with Convoke on this next one. So I've got to kill some time here. Ah, I should have left that Eclipse with... Okay, so that... I wasn't paying enough attention there. I mean, I could probably squeeze in another Eclipse here with no... Yeah, I can squeeze in an Eclipse with no trees. If I played that a little bit better, I would have had the cast speed, would have been nice. So I'm doing that. Now this Eclipse state, I can leave with Astral Power. Don't want to overcap. And now we have another big Convoke window here. Big. So that's kind of the rhythm there, it seems. Now, obviously, I'm just showing a lot of AoE rotations. I think single target's going to be a lot more simplistic. Dude, I love... It seems really quite nice right now, actually. Like, the length of Starlord, the fact is we no longer need a cancel Starlord macro because it just... We get a fresh one on an Eclipse, no matter what. So they're really building around simplified Eclipse states, like just pressing it when you want it, but also having more choice in when you want it, and just setting up for build up a bunch of resources that I'm going to go into that Eclipse when I'm ready and blast off. So that's quite neat. That's quite neat. That's quite neat. Cool. So I think that's most of the stuff that I wanted to cover. Is there anything else that I wanted to discuss? Let me just think. I think that's everything. But yeah, in terms of, like, feeling... Okay, yeah, I can discuss a bit about feeling then. So, obviously I'm doing a lot more of, like, AoE stuff than single-target stuff, because in general, single targets are, like, you know, a little bit more limited. But the single-target still felt decent because of these Eclipse states and, you know, this Loon's Challenge and stuff. I really quite like that. In terms of a feel... Yeah, it feels very much like the War Within. But it just feels better. Like, it feels improved around those Eclipse states, as I've been saying again and again and again in this video, so I won't go on about it, but it just feels better. I like that they're adding in stuff like Meteor Storm and Meteorites, where they're going to allow you to build around quick burst AoE, so that's going to maybe give some power to balance on, again, a fight like Araz, on a fight like Soulbinders, maybe a fight like Dimensius, on the platforms where you don't want to dot mobs, but you want to contribute, right? Feral has that exact same problem. You want to contribute, but you can't really do so effectively. And it's like, how can I add a bit of value here without sacrificing too much single target? And I think this is what they're trying to do here with this. So, cool. Still got to wait and see what the Loon's Chosen Hero talents are going to be. Let me know in the comments there, like, what do you guys think? The Apex talent, is that of any... I mean, it's not super interesting per se. You get the instant cast, which is kind of neat. Apart from that, it's just a lot of stuff that plays itself. This Ascendant Eclipse things, you know, cool. But it is, I mean, isn't this an old talent that's just been added in? Isn't this like Astral Smolder or something that they've just added in here? I'm pretty sure it is. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm always interested. And come check me out testing these specs live on stream Monday to Friday. All right, love you guys. Bye-bye.